Yes, I mean WWE. I'm about to say WWF a bunch of times, okay? But obviously, we all know that it is no longer called the WWF, WWE. All right, there we go.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Jay, and it's been a while since I've actually made a video covering anything besides, something spiritual. And I'm actually really excited about this because for anyone who has known me for a number of years, you've probably known that one of my, something that I really love is I love the WWF. And, ever since I was a little kid, I have absolutely loved watching professional wrestling. Now, this all started first, right? My obsession with the WWF started first when I was super little. I would, I would like guilt my parents into purchasing all the pay-per-views, and they did. um, And, even though there was a number of years that I kind of didn't watch it, I have now come back and probably am even more into it than ever, I would say. Um, Something that's gone along with this is, when I was like 7 years old, 6 or 7, I started training martial arts. I started training in Chinese Kempo, and I really enjoyed martial arts. At the time, I didn't recognize that it was building some really positive habits. At the time, I just really enjoyed it. And even now, when I watch any martial arts or, mixed martial arts, UFC, wrestling, any of it, I absolutely love observing and analyzing the techniques as well as the just overall kind of how it feels. I don't know how to really describe it, but I've definitely always been a huge fan of WWF. Back in the day there was WCW. I used to watch both of those religiously, and now I watch a lot of WWF. I watch all of the pay-per-views. I make sure to catch them all, maybe not live, but I always watch them. Now, this past weekend, I had an opportunity to get much closer to the mixed martial arts world. A friend, Stephen Derby, he is the founder of SJD Media, um, and he invited me along as his second attendee at RAF06 here in Tempe, Arizona. That is Real American Freestyle Wrestling. For anyone who doesn't know, many of the really popular names and revered athletes from the Ultimate Fighting Championship and from the wrestling world and from around the world um, have been invited into the RAF world. Uh, and like I was mentioning, I've always really been into wrestling. A household name, Eric Bischoff, is actually one of the three gentlemen who is, uh, responsible for bringing the RAF together. And so that was really exciting. Um, the weekend kicked off with the press conference, and lo and behold, I we walk into this press conference. We've been sitting there for a little bit. We're in, I think, the third row or so for media, and literally the seat right in front of me, uh, a guy who I have been watching since I was quite young. Really always super enjoyed his presence, his energy, his performances, his dedication to the sport of wrestling and, WWF. So Kurt Angle, I I got to sit right behind Kurt Angle.
So I'm here at this RAF06, and guess who sits right in front of me, bro? Look at this guy.
It's true.
He told me he was gonna put an ankle lock on. I'm just kidding. It's a pleasure to meet you,
Good to
Kurt.
meet you.
For real.
Pleasure.
So many years of watching your matches.
appreciate it.
Can I ask you one question?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite rivalry in WWE?
Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie Guerrero. Oh my goodness.
And at first, I truly, for a few minutes, I didn't even know what to say. I was like trying to think of, gosh, what do I want to ask this guy? And like the only thing that really came to mind was, about his ankle lock. That was his signature submission in the WWF. And so I spoke with him. I shook his hand. I let him know how much I had really enjoyed watching him for years under the WWF umbrella, and that I was also extremely aware of and respected his experience in the wrestling world on a global scale, and it was extremely satisfying. I felt our connection was quite genuine, and just on a human to human, fan to performer, but more so human to human level. And he was extremely humble. He shook my hand. It was really just a beautiful moment for me, and it had less to do with all of the known people who were in the room. So there's like this deep level of acceptance and camaraderie in that room is what I felt. And RAF in general, that whole group, like everyone who was there, it was very obvious that there was such a deep level of camaraderie going on. Like Uriah Faber and Henry Cejudo, they were the main event. I suppose it was being called a co-main event because Sarukian and Poulos were also co-main event, right? But a lot of us would probably say that the final fight of the night, as well as because it had, household fighter names from the UFC, which is the largest mixed martial arts promotion on the planet, as far as my perception goes. Uriah Faber and Henry Cejudo, very well known, right? So I don't think it's totally off base to call that the main event of the evening. And those two guys, like in the press conference, I asked them in the pre-fight conference, I said, because it seemed evident to me that there was a lot of camaraderie there, and it seemed like a big reason for them being there was to promote RAF, to bring a lot of eyeballs onto the promotion, and they did that, right? So I actually asked the last question of the press conference. Here it is, right here.
I want to ask you something about that, you guys, right here. Thank you guys so much, by the way, Chad and Izzy, for putting this together, because I can hear an obvious camaraderie and passion in here for what you're doing to inspire and give the athletes what they really want. I hear you, Uriah, saying some cool stuff over here, trying to get our friend Henry kind of psyched up for the match. I want to hear what you guys have in store for each other, because Uriah, I've loved watching your high energy over the years and everything you've done with your wrestling. Henry, I've loved your strategery and your getting in there being all like this. So I would love to hear you guys talk a little bit more about what you got in store for each other.
I'll tell you, Henry's been thinking a lot about it. I have not. He's been nervous. And honestly, I'll be honest with you, I even forgot that I'm wrestling this weekend, to be quite frank. That's the honest truth. We were having dinner last night, had a couple of drinks. But, right out, Joe. I will say. No, but hold on, you're right. Yeah. But that being said, I think it's great. It's, obviously we are the main event, but the reality is, You know, dude, the real main events are those wrestlers, you know, Jordan All versus Colby Barley. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree.
I'm just happy that we're able to kind of carry that. I think being Uriah, you know, dude, this is all this is all
is
fun
fun.
and games. You know, I want to see. I mean, the legend killer over here, Buchanan, what he's been able to do, taking you out Romero, Yazdani, and obviously even all of Jordan. I mean, not even freaking aging, like you just versing time, man. It's ridiculous. You still can make 145 pounds, bro. I guess that, you know, from the streamer to you know, to Muggsy, you know, take me down, win $1,000. Like, this is all great for the sport. So, Chad, Izzy, we appreciate it, man, and we're here to rock and roll. And tomorrow night, Uriah,
Yeah, let's
we
go.
will.
One thing.
That fight ended up, you know, going Henry Cejudo's way. It was a shutout, I believe. You know, I don't believe Uriah Faber had scored any points in that bout. But regardless, they definitely had a very entertaining wrestling match, in my opinion. It was a pleasure to get to see both of them perform, especially with each other on the mat. It was a pleasure to get to ask them a question at the very conclusion of the press conference, to have them respond, you know. It was an absolute blast to get to speak with Kurt Angle. Thank you, Kurt, if you see this, for, you know, for our interaction. Brother, it was amazing. Now, of course, if I didn't mention the fight that broke out at RAF, then I don't think that I would be necessarily doing my best or being as authentic as possible. In the Sarukian and George Poulos, Armand Sarukian and Giorgio Poulos fight or wrestling match, they were listed as the co-main event. So Armand Sarukian, who has had a bit of a history with, you know, kind of his temper, he won the match, and at the conclusion of the match, after the referee, you know, called the stop to the contest, at that point, Armand went ahead and, you know, he had kind of mounted Giorgio, and then he punched him as well as kneed him, it looked like, afterwards. And so then, of course, a brawl ensued. Both corners, you know, cleared out. The mat was full. Here's footage of that. I also got to interview Colby Covington. I interviewed him after the pre-fight press conference. His energy was awesome as well. Really enjoyed getting to chat with him. Super nice guy. The thoughts that had gone through my head when I was, you know, seeing what was going on in the Armand Sarukian and Giorgio Poulos wrestling match was that from the onset of the match, it seemed like Giorgio was doing a lot of kind of hand on the head, kind of shoving, you know, type of stuff. Now, I personally, I am not super experienced in freestyle wrestling, right? On the mat, no striking, that type of wrestling, Olympic style wrestling. So I'm not extremely versed in that, right? In what is permissible. But it did seem like Georgios was trying to instigate Armand. I mean, in the press conference, I would say that Armand made more comments, actually, that, you know, were kind of trying to get under Georgios' skin, it seemed like. You know, but they were going back and forth a little bit, you know. But I would say definitely more so verbal, you know, trying to kind of take jabs was I perceived from Armand in the press conference. But in the actual bout, it seemed like there was a lot more kind of slaps and head pushes and trying to get aggressive in that way from Georgios. I could be off. Hey, I could be wrong. I don't know. Just my perception from being there watching it live. So, anyways, that was what happened, you know. the fight broke out. You guys can go to the RAF official social media channels and see the actual punch and knee that set it off, if you choose. But this was an incredible first experience for me, receiving a media credential. Yes. So I had a great time with my first media credential in a combat sports event. Um, I thank RAF for having us, for having Stephen and I. I thank Stephen for inviting me as well. I wouldn't have even known about it if he didn't tell me about it. I hope to cover a lot more events moving forward, especially WWE, and UFC and RAF, and like I think it's all super fun. It's a totally different experience being there live, especially with media credentials. You know, being in the press conferences and such, meeting all the people. Like it was really amazing. So I hope to do a lot more of that. And we'll catch you next time. I'm going to put the links all in the description. Quantum SJD Media, that's the media company that we were there with. That's Stephen James. His Instagram handle, where you can find a lot of this content that I talked about, like the Colby Covington interview and a few others from the event, are on Stephen MMA 90, I believe. I'll put the handle, I'll put all the links in the description. So check it out. Follow me for more as well. And yeah, if anybody's got a hookup to get me media credentials at the upcoming WWE event in Phoenix, Friday Night SmackDown coming up, please let me know. If you have any other combat sports events that you want us to do media at, shoot us a DM. And until next time, thanks, guys. Oh, and I gotta give a major shout out to our dude Darren from SRK. They were the guys. Darren was the one that, you know, gave us got us the credentials. And you know, on site he was there making sure that we were all good. Super cool dude, super nice guy. Like really wanted to just make sure everyone had an awesome, fun experience. Was a real pleasure, you know, to meet you, bro, for real. Thank you so much for all your hospitality and for having us. Hope to see you again tons of times. So much love, bro. Thank you.